Have you ever noticed how cars used to be simple to fix, but now even the smallest repair can feel like a trap? What used to be a quick driveway job can now turn into a dealership bill worth hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars. And for millions of drivers, that is not an accident. It is the system. Every year, Americans spend massive amounts of money on vehicle repairs, and a growing share of that money goes toward problems that should never be this difficult in the first place. The real issue is not just that cars are more advanced. The real issue is that many modern vehicles are designed to make access harder, repairs more expensive, and owners more dependent on the dealership. Let's open the hood and look at what is really happening. Years ago, when you opened a car hood, you could actually see how things worked. The engine, the belts, the hoses, the wiring, everything was right there in front of you. If a vacuum line cracked or a bulb burned out, you could usually fix it yourself with basic tools. Today, many vehicles hide everything behind layers of plastic covers, sealed compartments, and tightly packed components. Even simple jobs are no longer simple. Replacing a headlight bulb, for example, used to take minutes. On many newer cars, you may have to remove the grille, the bumper, or even half the front end just to reach it. That is not progress for the owner. That is a business model. And it goes deeper than what you can see. Some cars are now built with parts that make ordinary maintenance unnecessarily difficult. Dipsticks are disappearing. Oil checks are being pushed into digital menus. Sensors are replacing basic mechanical feedback. But, sensors fail. Metal rods do not. That is the problem with so many modern designs. They do not always prioritize durability or serviceability. Instead, they prioritize control, packaging, and profit. One of the clearest examples is the way some engines are built with repair in mind, but not your repair in mind. On certain trucks, major engine work requires the cab to be lifted off the frame just to reach critical parts. Think about that for a second. A vehicle built for strength and utility can become almost impossible to service without specialized equipment and a huge labor bill. Then there are the hidden design traps. A single bolt placed a little too long. A starter motor buried under the intake manifold, a water pump bolt that cannot be fully removed without lifting the engine. These are not minor inconveniences. They are deliberate obstacles that turn normal maintenance into a dealership-only operation. One of the most infamous examples of bad repair design was the GM Northstar V8. On that engine, even basic repairs could turn into all-day jobs. The starter was buried deep under the intake manifold. Head bolt failures could force major engine work. What should have been a straightforward repair became a nightmare. This is not just about one engine. It's about a philosophy of design that quietly pushes owners away from independent repair and toward expensive service centers. But the real lockout is not always mechanical. In many modern vehicles, the bigger prison is digital. Today's cars are rolling computers. They contain dozens, sometimes over 100 electronic control units, or ECUs, all working together through networks of code, sensors, and software logic. That sounds advanced, and in some ways it is. But it also means that even when a part is physically replaced, the vehicle may still refuse to work until it is programmed, coded, calibrated, or registered. Replace an airbag module, and the car may need software pairing. Replace a wheel speed sensor, and the system may need recalibration. Touch the suspension or do an alignment, and the steering angle sensor or stability control system may need to be reset. Even replacing a battery can require registration through a diagnostic tool. In the past, replacing a battery was easy. New battery in, old battery out, done. Today, some vehicles use intelligent battery monitoring systems that track battery age, charging behavior, and electrical demand. If you install a new battery without registering it correctly, the car may charge it the wrong way and damage it early. So now, even something as basic as power replacement becomes a software event. And then comes component locking. Imagine buying a used switch, sensor, or module from a salvage yard. The part is identical, the connector fits, the numbers match. Mechanically, it should work, but the car's computer sees it as foreign and blocks it anyway. In some vehicles, you cannot simply install a replacement part and move on. The The software must approve it first. That means owners are no longer just buying parts, they are buying access. The same thing is happening with modern transmissions, differentials, and control modules. In many cases, replacing a component is not enough. The car must learn the part, accept the part, or be told the part is valid. That is a massive shift from the way vehicles used to work. And if you think gasoline cars are complicated, well, electric vehicles really raise the stakes even higher. Hybrid and electric vehicles are built around high-voltage systems, orange cables, battery packs, inverters, and battery management software. These systems absolutely require training and, a lot of caution, but they are also, unfortunately, used to create fear around repair. Manufacturers know that most owners and, honestly, even many shops will stay away from high-voltage work unless they have expensive certification and specialized tools. That fear becomes a real barrier. In practice, that means a repair that could be performed by a skilled independent shop often gets sent straight to the dealership instead. The owner pays more, the dealer gets the job, the system wins. And then there is the Secure Gateway Module, or SGW. This is honestly one of the biggest modern lockouts in the auto industry. It sits between your scan tool and the vehicle's computer system like a gatekeeper. You can own professional diagnostic tools, you can know exactly what the problem is, but when you try to communicate with the car, the system can simply say no. Access denied. That means clearing codes, resetting sensors, or performing certain repairs may now require subscriptions, factory authorization, or approved software platforms. This is how control becomes profit, and once that happens, repair stops being about skill. It becomes about permission. That is why so many drivers feel trapped, not because cars are impossible to fix, but because the system around them has been redesigned to make fixing them harder, slower, and more expensive. So what can you do? First, think carefully about the vehicles you buy. Older vehicles, especially those built before the era of aggressive software lockouts, are often easier to maintain, easier to diagnose, and easier to own. They may not have all the latest features, but they often give you something far more valuable: control. Second, support the right to repair. This is not just a mechanic's issue, it is an owner's issue. If you buy something, you should have the ability to maintain it, repair it, and choose who repairs it. Third, be skeptical of the idea that every new feature automatically makes a car better. Sometimes smart just means more expensive to fix. Sometimes convenience for the manufacturer becomes inconvenience for the owner. The future of car ownership should not mean becoming a permanent renter of your own vehicle. A car should work for the person who bought it, not for the system built around it.